All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game one of AMD versus 26, otherwise known as AMD users versus Blue Falcons. I love this intro shot there of our flag at the front of that Shokaku. Beautiful. Now, as far as AMD, they are bringing a Shokaku, a North Carolina, a Baltimore, a Bayard, an Amalfi, and double Kid. What's Blue Falcon bringing?
Blue Falcons also bringing a Shokaku. Once again, carrier on each team. Their Battleship Zath is a key. First time we've seen one of those today. Also
Hmm.
bringing Edinburgh. Also bringing, sorry, you didn't have an Edinburgh. You had an Amalfi. Both teams have an Amalfi.
Mhm.
Blue Falcons opted for an Edinburgh and a Chapayev. We assume then that the Edinburgh is radar. We won't know for a bit, but that's a safe assumption. And then also going with a Kid, but rounding things out with an Akazuki rather than going double Kid.
Yeah, interesting. I feel like Team AMD is bringing a little bit more anti-air to this battle. North Carolina's got pretty strong anti-air, but then again, so does the Key. But I feel like in terms of the destroyers, that the kids are unmatched, right?
Yeah, when it comes to AA, there's few tier 8 destroyers that can equal a Kid, right? She packs the defensive fire, the extra Bofors mounts that came with her late war modification, which is historical, and then of course she gets the what really makes her stand out at tier 8 is she gets a heal. So
Yep.
getting a Kid off the board is just a really exhaustive process if it's driven by somebody who knows how to take care of the ship, guard that health jealously, and know when to use it, when to pop in and out of detection and when to get out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now it looks like our Baltimore here in AMD has already come under some early fire. It looks like possibly from the Key.
Yeah, took a good solid hit from the Key there.
Now, I think there's two ships I'd like to talk about at the early stages as both teams jockey for positioning and trade blows. One is the carrier choice. Lexington being banned means, of course, you can't take that, so both teams opting for what they think is probably the next best thing, the Shokaku. Do you agree with that?
I probably do, and the thinking behind that is your only other options really at that point become, I think, the German carriers. You'd be talking about Zeppelin or Parseval,
Hmm.
which are not really known for their tactical flexibility. They're not bad ships, but they are really, if they're highly effective against specific targets, and then kind of less effective against a variety of things. Shokaku, her rockets are not as good as they used to be in terms of what they're able to do about assassinating destroyers, but the AP bombs are highly effective against just about every cruiser in the matchmaking she's going to see. The torpedoes are similarly highly effective against just about everything, and
Yep.
then the rockets are a matter of choosing the right ship at the right time and deploying them, well.
Sure. So look at player 22 Baltimore. By the way, we've been talking
Yeah.
about the ship, but these guys have been focusing hard.
Oh yeah. Still focusing hard. Another Key and Edinburgh salvo going down range on him right now.
And
But they've lost sight of him. They can't see him, so those salvos all go a little too far forward.
you mentioned the Key. That's the other ship choice that I think we should devote just a couple moments to talk about. The Key for Battleship is basically an A-hull Amagi. It's similar to the Amagi, but slightly different torpedo protection, bulge, all that good stuff. But the big thing about it is she's got Akizuki guns on the side, really good anti-air. She's got
Yes,
10-kilometer torpedoes with a pretty good arc to use it, which a lot of people I
yes,
think forget about.
very much so. Now, the other ship that I want to talk about in the lineup is we see here Epic Rebels Kid coming under fire here. He's got Shokaku torpedoes crawling up his stern as the Bayard's
Mm-hmm.
taking pot shots at him from the one line. I want to talk about the Bayard, because this
Mm.
was something that we saw last December when we ran a different iteration of the Verizon tournament, and it was at tier 8 for the first time, and it was a cash event primarily. But the difference then was we saw some very, very high level teams um, playing in the event with, they got to take their lineups, and we saw teams like '07, a multiple King of the Sea winner, taking Bayard and Kids out to the flanks because Bayard is able to do a lot of burst damage against a destroyer when it's spotted.
Right. So do you like you? So in other words, you like the pick of the Bayard here?
I like it as long as it's deployed correctly. What they would do is they would usually pack up. I think that tournament was 9v9, so it's going to be a little different here when we see a Bayard. But they were running a Bayard with two kids, and they would, or no, two Bayards with one kid. They would use the
Sure.
kid to lay the smoke screen, and then the kid would stay out of smoke as a spotter, and then the Bayards could comfortably sit in the smoke. And when the kid happened to stumble across an opposing destroyer, he could they could pop their reload boosters, and we watched them melt a number of destroyers that way, quite unexpectedly.
Yeah, it's kind of like the ultimate doom snail scenario there. So, oh, massive drop table now spotted, dodging all of that hate.
Yeah, dodging all of it. Does take a torpedo in there. Lots more shells going down range. The Edinburgh radar picked him out earlier. By the way, we do know in Sporkhead's Edinburgh is radar. We watched it pop just a little bit ago.
Okay.
But between the Amalfi and the Edinburgh, there is a lot of potential damage there on drop table as he takes yet another torpedo. Really great drops by Cable Guy right there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the question is he flooding now?
Now, let's take a look over at the 8-9 line, Zath, because things are starting to develop over here that I think they may not feel relevant now, but I think in about 3 minutes this is going to be a really interesting thing going on over here, right? The red spawn, this is Blue Falcons. They've left just Wadmore's Akizuki and Xylas Chapayev to defend this flank. They're getting pushed by a kid in an Amalfi, or at least the Chapayev is. He hasn't taken a lot of damage. He's just starting to take some here. But look how close the Shokaku is right there. That Shokaku is charging right down the 8 line, like almost on top of those two ships. He's going to have AP bombs with his Chapayev in a minute.
What's Uhunicum afraid of, right? Like, maybe the Akizuki torps, but, I mean, yeah, I really do like this push down this flank here.
We'll see if some of these AP bombs from Unicum Shokaku drop true on Xylas Chapayev. Looks like he got some overpens, but not much else.
Yeah.
Don't think he's gonna hang out for another drop there.
Nice thing is he'll be able to try again pretty quick.
But what it does is it puts a lot of pressure on Blue Falcons. These guys have got to be on comms, basically saying, guys, we can't hold back this push with the carrier here harassing us. We need help. And on the other flank, they're still trying to find their way into the A-cap. Now, they've beaten the opposing Baltimore down with an inch of his life, literally. VWS on 350 HP with an Edinburgh salvo going in. So let's see if they can get him off the board. Nope, they still can't. And they've lost sight of him now.
I want to mention something else important too. Back over at C for a sec, we saw the change over in team visibility. I don't necessarily know that Blue Falcons are aware of Uhunicum's position in that Shokaku.
They may not be. I mean, it's possible they've caught a glimpse of him along the way, but now he's literally in smoke. Well, kind of. No, he's right at the tail end of the Amalfi smoke, and it looks like he's stopped finally on the corner of that island.
Yep.
But
they can't see him.
He's done great work against Wadmore's Akizuki. He's taken 2 torps, and there's first blood finally. 8.5 minutes into the game, as AMD users Bags and Akizuki down here, and they're going to flip the C-cap to put even more pressure on the Blue Falcons.
I love it.
I do too. Now, Cable Guy's Shokaku has an opportunity here. They really need to get eyes on VWS's this player 22's Baltimore, right? Just so they can get him off the board. He's got 350 HP, right? A couple of kid shells will finish him off. They need that kill badly.
Oh, absolutely. Now the Baltimore's doing a great job, of course, of trying to stay outside of detection, and staying close enough to the North Carolina to kind of help him with anti-air as well as his teammate and the kid. So they're going to pay dearly for these spots. They have to come up with a kill.
But they've got to get the kill. They have to get this kill, Zath.
Right.
You cannot let a ship this low escape in a game where you can spot him, and they do get it.
There it is.
Points they badly need. They're down 150 points and continuing to fall because they only own the A-cap, and they've given up B and C.
And unfortunately, that means that they're basically bottled up in A, aside from that, I think it's Chapayev that's fleeing in the bottom part of the map.
Yeah, and the Chapayev is kind of in a 3-on-1, right? Anytime the carrier wants to send a strike after the Chapayev, the Amalfi and the kid can pitch in and help out, and like Xylas cannot hold out down here forever. It's only a matter of time before he becomes the second casualty for his team.
That's right.
Now, what's interesting to me, Zath, is that all of this has been occurring at the A-cap, and yet AMD North Carolina, to me, Zaf, has not felt super impactful over here, and yet they are still right now winning this game.
Mm-hmm. That's the power of cap control.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
Pius,
mean, oof, Bayard coming under some big hits there.
yeah, the key took a shot at him. Looks like they did connect, but the
We're about to
Chapayev
see.
is
Yep.
slowly going down here. He's firing AP into the forward belt of the Amalfi, and that's just not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
It's about,
Not sure about that. Oh, I see.
yeah,
He's expecting him to turn like that.
yeah. He did finally turn, but Amalfi's armor is decent enough. The 6-inch AP might get some pens, but I don't know that he's going to get much else out of it. And now, just like that, AMD 20 seconds from a win here in game one.
Yep. Marauder though is pretty low. Obviously, that's the focus target for the Blue Falcons here.
They can still
Question is
spot him. They're running out of time.
7
Literally
seconds.
5 seconds. No, it's not going to happen. The shells would already have to be in the air. They're going to win. AMD is going to claim game one here, Zach.
Absolutely. Great game. Great opening battle between both teams here.
Yeah. So Zach, look back at that real quick. What's the kind of pivotal moment or play to you?
Definitely the push down the flank on the 9 line with Unicum supporting as closely as he was. I've never seen a carrier do that in competitive before, or maybe once before, and it's brilliant maneuvering of the carrier hull as well as management of planes in order to execute that without being detected or somehow countered. So that was
Yeah,
really good.
I love that as well. It's one of the things that I talk about on my, when I do Twitch streams and videos talking about in random battles, carrier hull position is in my opinion, one of the harder skills to master about playing modern carrier.
Mhm.
And when you're able to do that, take an aggressive position and really make it work for you, it really does ramp up the combat effectiveness of a carrier. But I think the other thing
Right.
that I want to talk about a little bit, real briefly, is kind of the Blue Falcons. Like, you could see this push coming, right? You and I talked about it. Not once did they react by trying to rotate a ship back to help that flank. In fact, the carrier planes never even Cable Guy's carrier planes never even go into that flank to help out. If I'm that Akizuki and that Chapayev, you definitely feel a little hung out because you're probably sounding the alarm and just not getting anything.
Well, and that speaks to the focus, right? That you've got that one cap that's the clear contest cap, and their thought was, I must win this contest at all costs, and unfortunately, it cost them the game, and they
Yeah,
still never really won it. But
yeah.
I was going to ask you, one of the questions I was going to ask you was, do you think it was the ships or the execution that caused this victory for AMD? And I definitely think it was the execution.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely execution. Absolutely execution. Like, I like their lineup, but there's nothing wrong with their lineup. But to me, this is all execution, right? You're watching
Right.
a team that recognized very quickly a potential right there on that 8-9 push and moving the carrier up with it. You've got him there for A support. His planes are there for close support. You have a 3v2 right there, right? The carrier acts as another player. His planes are on those other ships very quickly. He got 2 big torpedoes into the opposing Akizuki, and once that happened, it was over. So yeah,
Right. Well,
kudos to both teams.
absolutely. What do you say we turn it back over to our studio?
You do that.
All right.
Thank you, Raptor and Seth, for the commentary. And yes, a very interesting match and take on how to play this map. Duke, we saw this earlier today where one team, and I think it was actually Hateful Eight versus -1S, when we saw the Prince Eugen push, trying to kind of do something similar by kind of pushing down the 7 and 9 line, trying to push the enemy out of their caps, but completely ignoring the other flank. But it worked out very differently now. What made the difference?
I think a couple of things. Number one is 26 was very, very lightly positioned on their home cap. So by only having an Akizuki and a Chapayev there, even though that is a very powerful combo because you can smoke up the Chapayev and you have a lot of gunpowder there, when you do that, if you smoke up the Chapayev, then the Akizuki needs to spot for him, unless you're going to commit planes from your aircraft carrier over there to spot. They didn't commit those planes, and therefore the Akizuki was forced to spot. That means you really only have a Chapayev in terms of DPM if you get into that smoke situation. The smoke doesn't last that long. So with the combination of the CV pushing up so close and being able to rotate planes in and out so quickly, with the Amalfi and the DD from AMD, they were able to really take that flank without too much traction at all. I really think ultimately we saw 26. They eventually did take the A cap, and they had really good opening damage on the Baltimore at the A cap, but they took so long in getting there. They waited until all of their ships on the A flank, all 4 of them, were positioned, 5 if you want to count the aircraft carrier, were positioned on like the 1, 2, 3 line. And so by the time they actually got control of the A cap and had it ticking in their favor, they had already lost their home cap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the biggest problem for the Blue Falcons, is that they never reacted to what's happening outside of that cap. Because they kind of gave up on their home cap, just falling back and falling back and falling back, and they lost the DD even, not just falling back, but losing a DD. And then the Chapayev, of course, has nowhere to run anymore. But the rest of the team didn't try to shift forces. And that's a really, really well played by the AMD team, being able to get them caught up in that cap so much and making them invest so many resources in getting that cap that they didn't redeploy to any other cap. So even if they would have managed to kill more ships, they would have not been able in time to get to the other caps. And AMD just had much better positioning. So really well played by both teams. But AMD clearly, looking at where can we find that in for this game to be able to just flip it. And we do have our replay tool here, so we can take a look at what we just talked about, right? If we let it play, we will see that early deployment is actually not that different from both teams. If we're looking at this, right, we have both teams deploy a Kit Amalfi, Akazuki, Chapayev on both of these flanks, and the rest of the team is actually going to fight over A here. And this is where it all changes. The Baltimore loses a lot of health. In this moment, for the Blue Falcons, great start. Everything is good. But then this is the difference. This Shokaku actually going to move up here. And with that, of course, reducing the flight time significantly, being able to just make use of the planes as much as possible, putting as much pressure as possible on the enemy flank, and being able to flip the enemy home base is something that most teams are probably not prepared to deal with. So you will see just the Shokaku actually coming down here, and I love this little tag team here because you can clearly see the Amalfi and the Kit, which is teaming up together, being able to get smoked, to provide smoke for the CV if necessary, and just help each other out. It takes a lot of discipline, in my experience, for players to stick together, not like for DD, just take off, trying to get a little bit more spotting, but rather stick together, be very disciplined, and make it work. And yeah,
I'd also like to point out down here, the Akizuki and the Chapayev were so far apart from each other. They need to play very close together to really bring that combination to life, right? If they're playing far apart, then you can't smoke the Chapayev. The Chapayev is really just kind of a fish out of water. It has to run away and try and kite away. And so that was, I think that was part of the reason why this push was so successful. If they stayed together, they might have been able to hold off a little bit longer. And then, as you can see right now, like, there's very little pressure on the A-cap from the red team here. The red team has bundled all its ships here, and it's just now getting to the point where it's getting into a position where it can start applying pressure. Instead of doing this, they could have tried to position ships in these islands here, and 1 or 2 ships out here where this cluster is. But instead, it took so long for them to actually get this pressure on the A-cap that ultimately the point difference was impossible to recover.
Yeah, and the thing is that once more, taking a look at points versus HP, at this point here, I took a snapshot for like at 11 minutes, for example. It was the moment where they were actually able to flip that Baltimore, which they've been trying to kill for such a long time. There was only a 20k HP difference between the teams, but already like a 240 points difference. And this is where you will be able to see here how that cap control and being able to now go for this cap here just seals off the map for the Blue Falcons, because they cannot really push in here anymore. They will have to fall back. And here, of course, it's much easier to defend, so you're going to pay significantly more HP to get here. And the DD never reacted to try maybe to go up here, or maybe try to help here. So a lot of red lines, but it just shows to me that AMD had really good control. Very, very decent positioning against those ships, making them pay every single meter to advance and to get that cap. And at that point, when they were ready to give up the cap, they already were set up to get a substitute cap. To just like, okay, you can have this cap now because we get your other one. So well played here, well played here. Yeah, so now we're going to see what the Blue Falcons are going to come up with to get back into the match. This is a best of 3, so they have to win the next map, which is going to be Crash Zone Alpha. We haven't seen this map today yet, so this is going to be very exciting. And do you think that the Blue Falcons are going to change anything significantly about their setup? Not because of the map, but because of the experience of the first match?
Right. I don't think that their setup was necessarily wrong. I think their setup was definitely a viable strategy. Really, it came down to a lack of rotation and a lack of response and reaction to what the enemy team was doing. And I think if they react appropriately and they're on on their toes, then they stand a really good chance of pulling a win here.
Yeah, I agree. And please keep in mind that all of these teams are drafted teams. They're not clans that have been playing for a very long time together. No, this is actually all of these teams came together when we started recruiting for this tournament. They have 50%, at least 50% participation by veterans in their teams. So for all of these teams, it's something new. They haven't played with these players before. So, oh, I see the match is ready. So we just hand over. Enjoy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Game 2 of this Verizon Warrior Series Top 16 match between the Blue Falcons and AMD users. Starting in the green here to the north on Crash Zone Alpha, we have the Blue Falcons fielding a Shokaku and a Key again, Edinburgh, Amalfi Chapayev, a Kid, and an Akizuki. I don't think they changed their lineup at all. Looks the same to me, Zap. What do you got from the South Spawn?
Yep, and then AMD users are bringing Shokaku, North Carolina, Baltimore, Bayard, Amalfi, and Double Kid. Now, I got a feeling about AMD users in this particular battle because they are, of course, Team Red.
Yeah. Well, I don't get it.
That just went right over your head, didn't it?
Yeah, gone. I'm blonde, man. You're gonna have to explain it. Sorry, can't help you.
It's all good. It's all good.
Is that a weeb joke, Zath? Are you making a weeb joke?
No,
my expense?
Never. No, I would never. I would never.
Yes, you would.
I would, but in this case, I was not.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Ooh. Some initial spots going down here as Uwunikam Shokaku is trying to put a torpedo into Roman soldiers Amalfi, but look at that dodge.
You think he bounced that torpedo off the hull like in the wargaming video, Zath? I think he might have.
Oh, God.
All right, well, we can see here from the mini-map, we're looking at a bit of a 5-2 split. Amalfi, Chapayev, Key, Akizuki, and I guess kind of the Shokaku headed up to C for the Falcons. Edinburgh and Kid setting up station in the A-cap to the south. Opposing them on the south end is a Baltimore, a Bayard, and a Kid. The Shokaku making revolutions that way for AMD, as their Amalfi and Kid head up towards the C-cap, North Carolina. That is Pet Brenderson at the moment, kind of hanging mid, playing central, bow going towards the south spawn, but just kind of looking around, prowling for targets.
Both battleships are really just kind of sitting there out in mid. Very interesting. I know the Key wants those broadsides in the south. I know he's just looking for them, right?
I like this idea. I like this position, especially in a carrier right? And they obviously took, it's like he's taking a shot at the Bayard there. But I like the position of a central battleship. I talk about this on my stream, my channel on occasion, because there are times that can be incredibly effective. And a key, or North Carolina, as the case may be, can take care of itself pretty effectively against the opposing carrier. So you're not super concerned about getting singled out and soloed off the board.
Yep. Now look at Unicum moving the Shokaku very aggressive early on here,
Yeah.
along with the Bayard Baltimore Kid North Carolina heading down by A. I have a strong feeling that if Blue Falcons Kid and Edinburgh over there aren't careful, they're going to get out pretty quick here.
Now, Sporkhead sitting here in smoke. This is Kid Smoke left behind for him, but he is showing a great angle to player 22's Baltimore, who's not quite in radar range, but is kind of getting close-ish. So we'll see if he might find himself caught out there. We'll see. Looks like the key just put a salvo into Unicum as well.
Yes, he's down quite low, but hey, you know what? He can take a couple of hits. It's okay, and those are shells that are not going to his teammates. So
True.
It's okay right now. Obviously, it's catastrophic if he lets himself get shot at for 3 minutes.
Good damage going in on Marauder's Bayard, as now the cable guy bringing in the torpedo bombers, trying to force the Bayard into a turn or a disadvantageous position.
Yeah,
see if
we
he
saw
can help
that.
his teammates out here.
Those short fuse AP shells just going to town on the Bayard, we know is rather lightly armored. That's perfect for that.
He might catch him with a torpedo. He does.
Yeah, he does.
Takes out his engine. Yep. Marauder
DCB.
immediately with the repair. But the Edinburgh salvo.
That takes it out.
Oh, the Edinburgh
Beautiful
salvo
shot.
seals the deal. Well done. Well done by Sporkhead. You see there the power of the carrier spotting, right? You see there Marauder desperately realizing he's in trouble, desperately trying to back off and get away, and not able to do it, and just enough damage getting in to secure that kill.
Yeah, I also found it interesting. It almost seemed like the Bayard was way too aggressive early on, thinking that he had the support that was not there. Like, if you look at the Baltimore, he just kind of stopped. So
Indeed.
we haven't talked about what's happening over at the CCAP too much. And interestingly enough, AMD just grabbed the cap in front of a Chapayev, an Akizuki, and a Amalfi.
I'm a little surprised that they let Drop Table's Kid in there to steal that cap when they had all the time in the world to potentially spot him and drive him off.
Yeah.
But I think maybe they're a little focused, Zath. Look at the Keys position now. Kashima is moving up very, very aggressively right down the 6 line through the middle of the board. In fact, he's got a great flanking shot on the North Carolina.
Yes.
I'll be really curious to see if he can punish the North Carolina before he gets behind cover. Salvo going out now.
Well, not only that, but if he can get around behind, I mean, he's got shots, and we know where Unicum is now. So I mean, that could spell death for that carrier player. Early on, we missed it talking about CCAP, but he did get a nice torpedo in on Epic's Kid.
He did. I saw that on my stream.
Yeah, here's the battleship duel starting to take place.
Sorry, 6.5 minutes gone, and the Falcons have worked out to a lead on the strength of that early kill, but they are upside down on caps, so the gap slowly narrowing. But they've got about a 110-point lead here as everybody kind of jockeys for position. You can see there Unicum deciding that he's had enough of this key in the middle of the board. He's bringing the torpedoes in.
Yep.
Sending all kinds of love Kashima's way.
Yep, and you can see the attempt support by Cable Guy's planes there trying to keep Kashima relatively healthy.
Takes one more in the stern there, but doesn't get a flood. As the North Carolina salvo that came in during all that didn't really do much more than about 4,000 damage either, but that could have been big. Well, you know, we talk about this sometimes. You know, carrier when you're driving a battleship, and you've got HP to burn or you've got HP available, sometimes maneuvering to avoid a torpedo strike causes you more damage because the opposing ships will get better shots on you.
Right. Now, Unicum is coming under sustained fire from that Edinburgh.
I see that. I'm impressed that they can spot him. Now, Rebels and Joker are about to have a bit of a... They might run into each other on the surface here.
Mhm.
But Joker knows there's a radar Edinburgh lurking in that smoke. He has to be very cautious.
And of course, they know where the radar Baltimore is too. So
Falcons now pushing Wadmore's Akizuki back onto C. He's about halfway done with this cap as their lead is narrowed to about 60 points.
yeah, I don't know about the choice to switch the key's positioning. If you look at where the key's going,
They're pulling him out of mid, but I think I see why he's taking about 30,000 damage out there that I don't think he's dealt that much in return.
well,
So
sure.
it probably feels a little bad right now. Also, he's probably looking for a bit of a shot against player 22's Baltimore, who's also trying to reverse kind of now back behind the island.
Yep. Yeah, we were talking about the key positioning changing. He just got smacked by I don't recognize the name necessarily, but by the North Carolina there, Pet Brenson.
Yeah. And he's
And that's what
returning
I
the
mean, I
favor
just-
now with a salvo going out.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like I know he was under a lot of fire, but he could have sustained that for a little bit longer and really caused Team AMD to have to react to him. Now moving back, they don't have to worry about him anymore.
Now, Epic Rebels in a bit of trouble here. He's down under 4K with a rocket strike coming in.
Yes.
Chicago Rockets not really doing much, but it's the Baltimore shells that are really hurting right now as he's trying to get away on fire, retreating back to the north.
That's all right. He's got a heal. It'll buff out.
It'll buff right out just as long as he lives long enough to push the heal button. On the back of their A-cap and their early kill, Blue Falcons now out to about a 120-point lead and growing slowly as we approach the 10-minute mark of the game.
Oh.
But Epic there, he finally gets his heal off now. You see it ticking up.
Yep. That was a AP
And-
bomber.
This has been he and Rebels and Sportcat have done such brilliant work in this A-cap. The two of them almost by themselves have held off 4 opposing ships if you count the carrier.
Well,
So, I mean, such
yeah,
good work.
Not only that, but they also took one out in the process.
Now, player 22 taking a bit of a risk here. He's pulling out from behind the island right in front of the key, banking on the fact that he won't get spotted. And at the moment,
Yeah.
it's working out for him. The key can't see him. But that might change depending on how some of these planes move around. Forkhead, I think, is radared in smoke now. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He felt that.
And that's why player 2 and 22 moved up in Baltimore.
And out.
Yep.
Player 22 finally exacting revenge, getting the Edinburgh out of smoke with his radar, and they might follow up with the kill on the kid.
Yep.
Rebels under 400 HP.
Brilliant push there by player 22, and we also saw he just barely dodged getting destroyed by that key as well. So
so good. Just a
RNG
clinic
smiled
from player
upon
22. But he's gonna take a
Until-
torque. Yep. There it was.
Cable
guy
guy.
exacts revenge for his teammates. Now, plenty of time still on the clock. About 100-ish point lead or so for the Falcons. They need this win. If they lose this game, their tournament's over.
That's
So
right.
this is do or die for them. But right now, they're surrendering the A-cap to Joker's kid, who's backed up nominally by Brenson's North Carolina and Wunikum's whatever Wunikum has left on his deck as the Shokaku.
Yep.
But over 900 points now. The Falcons, if they can bag a kill, this can go south very quickly for AMD.
Absolutely. And of course, we'd all love to see a game 3 occur, but we'll have to see if that's in the cards here. As look at this kid coming close to try to execute this Akizuki.
If the Chapayev pushes this radar button at the wrong time, Wadmore will just absolutely melt drop table.
Well, there's an Amalfi right there. He should be using it. I'm surprised he's not. Push that I win button.
Guess maybe it's not ready. Oh, he sees him now, though. Yep, they can see each other now. Aki turning his guns. Finally getting some salvos off.
Yep, and we see some
Oh,
shells
the
coming in from
rockets!
the
Oh, but the
Amalfi.
kid gets him.
Yep, that's right.
Ah,
Assassination.
flips the lead. Flips the lead. 50 points down now are the Falcons. They need a kill. I think they just blew their best chance to get drop table. They pretty much have no chance to get Joker. Lunicum's got hard cover now. 20 seconds. They've got to kill drop table if they want to extend this game.
Yes, they do.
Oh,
All these shells
big
coming in.
hit. Big hit by the Amalfi. More
Yeah,
key
but-
shells coming in.
10 seconds.
More shells from the Amalfi. Not enough.
Torpedoes coming in now as well.
Last stand
Oh
of
my
drop
God.
table. Oh, they get him.
Oh, got him!
They get
Oh
him.
my
With
God, they got
seconds
him.
on the clock, they get him.
Yep, but Team Red can still win.
No, they won't. I don't think so. Oh, this is going to be so tight, Zap.
They win in 32 seconds.
Yeah, but
and then Team Green wins in 37.
oh, I see it now. Yeah, they do have the lead. You're right. They're going to win this race. Unless they can kill the Shokaku. Oh my gosh. Look.
Look at him. Look at him.
Down in the A-cap.
Oh!
Shokaku's under fire. If they kill the carrier
10
finally,
seconds.
it's over, man. They're tied at
seconds.
987. There's your lead change, and there it is.
Oh, there it is.
There it was.
What a battle.
A last second win from the Falcons. Goodness gracious, what a game.
Very, very. Wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Are you not entertained, Zap?
I need to walk away and think about this for a minute. Jesus. Yeah, that was
okay. Yikes. That'll get the blood moving in the morning. Goodness.
right.
Wow, what a game. An amazing finish to a well-played game by both teams. But the Blue Falcons squeeze it out at the end, and they have forced a game 3.
You know, it's interesting. I had talked about Unicum being able to take a shell, and it's okay early on. And I said, as long as he doesn't keep getting shot at, he's fine. And then what does he do? He throws himself right into that island because he kept on taking shells, and he had to duck into cover. And then he was stuck. And his attempt to move himself out and get moving is ultimately what got him killed and, decided that battle. Wow.
Changed the entire game, right? Both teams literally tied at 987 points. One team ticks up to 990. You're under 10 seconds from a win at that point, and then bam, the kill of the carrier, and that's the game. Like, that's it. That point change will end the game. What an amazing finish.
I mean,
wow.
Look at all those deaths at the very end there. Both teams realizing it's do or die. Both teams hunting for that low health chip. Wow.
And I we were talking about it. We were focused on it. They had to get that kill on drop table, and they did. Right? Without that kill, the kill on the carrier is meaningless. Later, you're not allowed to. The game doesn't progress that far. Right?
Yeah.
Drop table basically almost assassinates the Akazuki almost by himself, more or less.
Yes.
And manages to sneak away. He's got 12,000 HP, and suddenly he's got carrier torpedoes, he's got Amalfi shells, he's got a Chapayev over there. They're all on top of him, and they manage to put just enough damage into him at the last possible second to bag the kill, extend the game, to give them another chance to win.
How would you like to have been that Chapayev player and realize how close that kid was? Like,
Woo!
If his radar was off on cooldown, oh well, couldn't use it. But if it was available, to see that again and say, damn, if I would have just hit that button.
Rough.
Well,
what an amazing finish.
Yeah, let's head it over back to the studio for more commentary. Wow.
Absolutely fantastic match. We were sitting here. It's like, oh no, what's happening? They're losing the match. Oh no, there's actually a chance to win the match. They actually turn it around in the last minute twice. So very good match, Duke. It was great to see, right, that both teams trusted in their setup just as before. And I loved how Blue Falcons were just able to say, you know what? First match, got caught off guard, but we have a plan. We'll just go. Like, this is a good recipe for a good team, in my opinion. If you're able to just say, like, we'll just shrug it off. We're not changing anything. We are confident in what we can do. Just go and provide that kind of gameplay. Fantastic. What's your take on this match?
Yeah, definitely. They played it very well. Both teams played that match extremely well, and it was extremely close, as you said. So key moments in that match. The buyer going down early on, of course, is probably the harshest loss for AMD. That really slowed down their push into the A-cap a lot. Had they been able to get that push off earlier, I think they probably would have found success in this match. Ultimately, though, they did succeed in that push, and they ended up getting both the Edinburgh and the Kid from the Blue Falcons, which was really big for them. Had either of those ships, just one of them, just kited away back towards the key, then it would have been probably a very different story. It probably wouldn't have been nearly as close because I think the Blue Falcons would have maintained their lead much more convincingly, right? And then, of course, that clutch kill from the AMD Kid on the Akizuki, very, very good, but unfortunately he wasn't able to get away. And then the Shokaku at the end, just it's Unicum very aggressive positioning in his Shokaku, and this game he got punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is like you're playing with fire, right? It worked out perfectly in the first match, being able to be in that position and having the balls to just go in there and say, like, you know what, I'll just be right behind my ships, and I'll take the risk for the benefit of being able to apply more damage faster. But if you get caught out in a position like this and there's no way you can disengage, then that's of course the risk that you take. But I think it kind of paid off. But of course, both teams made mistakes. I did have the feeling that Blue Falcons had a really, really good start into this match. They managed to get the caps. They looked very convincing. Like they made AMD take so much time and effort to get into the cap with inferior forces, and kind of were able to, like, okay, we're going to not go for the home base. We'll just defend it. We'll actually go cap third cap. Being able to go for this. And then, I don't know, maybe they were already making it a little bit too easy for AMD to actually walk back into the cap and grab it back with the Kid, despite having the Radar, the Amalfi, and the DD there. But overall, I think both teams really played this really well. It was really, really fantastic to watch.
Yes, definitely.
And it makes it very hard for us to say who's going to win the last match. Let me actually check whether we're going to have a replay. I don't see it right now, but I think this shows very well like how close even like drafted teams can get very quickly with having some experienced players sharing their knowledge and everybody kind of becoming better as one unit and helping each other, right? This is one of the key things to take away, is that you might have super experienced players in such teams, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much if you cannot work as a team. And I think we've seen both teams work very well together and protecting each other and kind of trying to align everything that it works out, which is, if you just look at your random battle experience that you have, or let's say even ranked battles, is you know how hard it is to pull that off if you would just be texting with somebody. Being on the same voice comms is already, of course, like a big step into that direction, but kind of letting go of your ego and putting everything out there for the team and maybe, making a sacrifice so you can win is very different to the, I would say, average, everyday gameplay experience you would have in World of Warships, for example. So yeah, that promises a very, very interesting match 3, and it's going to be on Northern Waters. And that's a map that, at least in my opinion, promises to also provide like a lot of action. Mm-hmm. Do you think that any of the teams is going to potentially swap out any ships, for example, go for a double BB setup on this match? On this map, sorry.
I'd be surprised if they did. Both of them are really kind of in their groove, and they've got very strong setups that are pretty versatile as well. So they can definitely make these ship compositions work if they set up in the right positions on this map. Both teams stand a really good chance. I think we'll probably see a lot of aggression between the B and C caps on this map. A cap, maybe we'll see someone try and get cheeky and put a cruiser up on the island to the left side of the cap. But really, I think we're going to see a lot of action at BC.
Yes. Oh, we'll be heading over to the match in a minute. But yeah, I think especially on such a large map with so many islands, the city is going to be super helpful to provide the spotting so that you know how to react. And both of the CVs seem to be very, very confident in what they're doing in providing us with a lot of action. So, chat, let us know. Who's going to take this one? Is it going to be the Blue Falcons, who came back into this series, or is it going to be Team AMD? Let us know in chat, and then we'll hand it over to Lord Seth and Sea Raptor. I know they're already super eager to broadcast this match. So let's enjoy it together. I'll hand it over and see you on the other side. Bye-bye. Have fun.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the last game. Game 3 between Blue Falcons and Team AMD. This one's for it all. This one's for advancement. And wow. All right, so we've got ourselves a Blue Falcons bringing Shokaku, Ki, Edinburgh, Amalfi, Chapayev, Kid, and Nakazuki. That feels oddly familiar.
As it should, Zap, because opposing them from the south spawn, AMD has fielded their team just as it did last game. Shokaku, North Carolina, Baltimore, Bayard, Amalfi, and Double Kid. So neither team opting for a lineup change here as we move to Northern Waters.
Now, you know what that signals, right? That signals that both teams are very happy with how they've set these battles up. They know it's just a couple little things here or there that's causing the losses, but they don't think it's their ship or comp. They're happy with it, and I love that.
Indeed. Now, we've commented twice, both of the last two games, about Awunikum's kind of aggressive carrier position. You'll notice here early, Zath, he is just kind of going to chill for a bit. Seems like maybe it worked out really well in game 1 and it literally cost them game 2. I think
Right.
maybe he's going to be a little more cautious this game and wait to see how things form up that the enemy team deploys before he opts to choose a side of the board to hang out on.
Yeah, and I just got to comment for a second on what we just saw, which was planes being shot down while going around a lighthouse. That was a flex, ladies and gentlemen, by the video team. Oh my goodness.
Well, we're looking at a 5-2 split from the AMD side, kind of. I mean, at least a 4-2 split, right? North Carolina once again playing mid. That's Brenson. Baltimore Kid going to A. The Bayard is playing much farther back off the A cap this game than he did at the cap he ventured into last game, leaving Kid at Amalfi to hold the door at C.
Right. And so it's interesting to see Blue Falcon going for a more even split here, kind of trying to feel out what the enemy's going to do and decide, are they going to push on the traditional contest side, or are they going to push from their home cap?
Yep, they have gone completely even. 3 ships to each cap. Double cruiser destroyer lurking in the B cap. The Key is over here on the A side, in front of the playing behind the Edinburgh, and Rebels is Kid. Now, we talked last game about how good Sporkhead and Rebels played that Kid Smoke Edinburgh radar dynamic. It worked out really well for them. You can see way down on the 2 line, all the 1 line really, Drop Table's Kid putting smoke into the game so that Marauders Bayard can move up closer to the cap.
Yeah, once again, we see that group kind of division working together. Look at the North Carolina central position again. Although the Key has decided to leave that side, and instead I think he's going to focus more on trying to contest A.
Yeah, the Key's very much made his presence felt over here, at least on this side of the board, and I think we're going to see Brenson's North Carolina maybe kind of come over here to mirror him. I'm not sure just yet. We'll have to see. At the moment, he's kind of playing behind an island where he doesn't really have shots on anybody.
Yep. Here comes Epic. Sorry, I was just going to say Epic is going to go ahead and smoke up Sporkhead's Edinburgh now, coming under fire from that Bayard and Kid combo.
Nice cloud here marking the top end of the cap. Still just outside of player 22's radar range, about 1 kilometer or so. Now, one thing that the Kid stepping onto the cap might do, they might be able to bait out the radar for player 22 to push the Kid back off the cap, while at the moment Spork is outside of the range of that radar.
This is giving me so many clan battles flashbacks right now.
Oh yeah. And Drop Table is not quite yet in range of radar on the bottom end of the cap either. So we'll see here. They can see player 22. I guess the Shokaku planes have got him lit.
Yes, probably the fighters.
Okay. Still no radar from player 22's Baltimore. It looks like they're going to let Rebels bag the A cap, and they do.
Interesting.
I'm a little surprised by that decision.
Well, I think that they're sensing, if they know where the Key is, I think they're sensing an attempt to draw out the Baltimore. If he radars and then moves forward and comes out in front of the Key's guns, obviously that's a problem.
True. And the last time the Key was probably spotted, he was on that side of the island behind the smoke, but of course now we can see him. He's
Right.
rotated back towards the middle of the board, but it's possible that AMD doesn't know that yet.
Right. And for the red team, their last spotted might have been him heading towards the one line for all they know. So
Yep. Yep.
I think it's smart to play cautiously here. He could have very well radared and at least gotten shots from the Bayard to support, but
Some blind torpedoes going into that smoke. You can see the show Wunderkamp kind of just fishing as the Edinburgh gets a solid hit onto player 22.
yes, but now he's out broadside.
Oh,
of
he
that
is.
smoke.
Player 22 has HE in the barrel, so the first salvo coming in will be HE. But now player forced back far enough. He's not going to. Oh,
Oh.
my goodness. What
Epic
hit
took
Rebels?
some torpedoes. That was airdrop
that what it was?
torpedoes.
Oh, my
Yes, and
goodness.
I think Bayard at the same time. Wow.
Really well done. Here comes another torpedo salvo. Oh, I think he's going to take these two, Zath.
Mm-hmm.
No. Oh, he took one.
Oh, splits the hull.
What
what
a
a death
big
pick.
kill. What a huge kill that is for AMD.
Yeah, Wunderkamp saying, you know, I made a mistake. I'm coming back and I'm swinging.
First blood
Wow.
here at the A cap really messes up the Blue Falcons' position. They made such good work of the Kid Edinburgh pair last game, but with
Yep.
the Kid off the board, it's going to really change how Sporkhead has to position himself.
And as soon as that happened, you saw player 22 hit the W key 4 times.
Oh yeah, he's moving up, baby. He's going to take that AP and push Sporkhead right out of there. Oh yeah, look
Yep.
where the Bayard is. Look how aggressive this Bayard is being.
Yep. He wants a rematch with that Edinburgh. This time on his
the AP
terms.
from the Bayard, the AP from player 22. Ouch.
Oh, yep. There's
Ouch,
another Citadel.
ouch. And here comes the AP bombs. Oh, Sporkhead. Oh, this is going to go so badly for you, sir.
Oh, there's more Citadels.
Indeed. This hurt. I love playing Edinburgh Zath. This hurts me to watch.
I don't mind it.
Oh, shut up. Now, Marauder's getting a little wrecked too, right? He did take one of the Edinburgh torps, and the Shokaku is right behind this island. Just put another torpedo into his bow.
Yep, so it's possible we might see a trade here. That's the best thing that can happen, I suppose. Unfortunately, the keys.
Well, they're more likely to kill Marauder than they are to kill
Yes.
Sporkhead at this point.
Yes, unfortunately, the key's not able to help. He's really south.
Well.
Look at his position.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they've chosen this position for the key. They are going to end up killing the Bayard. There he goes.
There it is.
That does flip the lead back for the moment to the Blue Falcons on the strength of all the early count points they built up. But that lead is going to evaporate. It's only about 60 points, 8 minutes played, as AMD's definitely making a push here. Now, we haven't spent much time talking about the 8-9 line here, Zap, but the Falcons over here are making a great push right now as well.
Absolutely. Well, they do have a ship advantage, and they've done a really nice job of preventing movement by having a ship pretty much on the 7 line, another one on the 9 line, and I think another one was on the 10 line earlier. So it's really hard for Team Red, for AMD, to get up there and make a play there, as the North Carolina now is being forced off because of Kashima's key.
They're really focusing Danny's Amalfi. I think they're going to get him here. Roman Soldier's going to have to turn. Probably still going to take one of the Aki torps. He does. They are going to get Danny. That gives them back the lead.
Hmm.
That leaves the C cap almost completely wide open. Joker's Kid, the only thing able to defend from that position.
Right.
And gosh, Saf, what happened to Brenson? The AMD North Carolina just getting punished.
That was the key. So when the key was spotted out mid, North Carolina went forward and tried to turn out and just got smacked. And now we just saw the replay, another torpedo strike coming in from the carrier.
Yep. Saw that. Again, upside down on caps, but up on ships. They'll be on to C shortly. They need to bring up Wadmore's Akizuki probably to secure C, but at the moment, they're busy trying to put as much fire into Joker's retreating Kid as they can down here south of the C cap.
Now, meanwhile, Kashima is starting to get focused heavily by Wunderkamp, partly because he's so close to Wunderkamp.
Well, yeah.
It makes it easy for him to bring his planes over. Just keep dropping on him.
Now, can they see Wunderkamp? No, hang on. They can. He's spotted on the surface now.
Yeah.
Oh, good hit from the North Carolina.
Yep. And now the hunter is becoming the hunted as Kashima realizes he went too deep.
Yep, he's a little too deep behind enemy lines here, it feels like. He's going to take a couple of these torpedoes. That'll probably end his game. The best he can
Yep.
hope for is one last good salvo on the carrier before he goes. He's not going to get it.
Oh, North Carolina
Oh, he
goes
does
down in
get
the
it.
background as the key
NorCal
goes
goes
down
down.
too.
They get the key, who puts about a 10, 12,000 point salvo into the carrier on his way out the door.
Yep. Meanwhile, Joker is just being hounded
Wow.
by 3 ships.
Yeah,
Oh, Sporkhead goes down too. Wow.
indeed. Both battleships off the board as Blue Falcons pick up B and C. As now it's going to be Shokaku versus Baltimore in the A cap.
Yep, we're watching that. There's that kill from the on the Edinburgh. And now we're back to the kid being chased and desperately trying to find more map to run to.
Now, something that I'm going to wonder about in a moment as Player 22's Baltimore rotates out of the A cap is if Cable Guy is ballsy enough to come out from behind
Yeah.
his island and get down there into the A cap, because that
Yeah,
could be really huge if he would.
He absolutely has to at this point, in my opinion. The Baltimore has seeded the cap. This is a time for him to hit that autopilot and pray that the
Yeah.
autopilot doesn't shove him into a rock. If it
Yeah.
can get him into A, he's fine. He got a free cap, and he gets that insurance policy if some more of his teammates start to die.
He bombs on the Baltimore. Some good hits, but he's still
Yep.
in the game.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Cable Guy needs to get it, turn his engines on. Remember, he's a carrier on an airfield. He's doing it now. Yep,
Yeah,
he's
he's
underway
moving.
now. He's underway now as the Falcons are continuing to grow their 60-point lead. 60-40 point lead, really, on the strength
Yep.
of their cap advantage.
But
oh,
Awunikam,
Silas.
Awunikam just nailed Xylus
Yeah.
Chapayev. And of course, there's the Baltimore too.
Silas caught out here. He's taking 2 more torpedoes. He's going out.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Awunikam
Big
saying
kill.
this game isn't over yet.
Big kill for AMD. They take the lead back, but it's gonna close slowly as so much of this game, in my opinion, Zach, is going to hinge on how this confrontation in the middle between Roman Soldiers Amalfi and Player 22's Baltimore ends up going.
Well, we're watching Cable Guy getting set up for an AP drop right now on the Baltimore. He dropped and went back, and he connected. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Between the SAP and the AP bombs, they take out the Baltimore and come back to ship parity. Cable Guy
Yeah.
moving for the A cap.
And what are we left with for Team Red? 2 kids and a Shokaku. And look at
Two
what they're
kids
doing.
and a Shokaku. Yeah.
They're all heading straight for C. They know they have to make a
Yeah.
play. They got to do something here.
They got to get onto a cap. They know it. 7 minutes to play, but it's going to be over far sooner than that. 56 seconds on the timer if you're the Blue Falcons. I think eventually, Zap, they're going to lose Wadmore. I don't think they can keep Wadmore on the board. Between the Rockets and the double kid, I just don't see it.
Well, the thing is, only 1 kid is shooting right now.
Yeah, I'm
And-
a little curious as to what Drop Table's up to, trying to pick a gunfight with an Amalfi.
Right. I would agree with you. Of course, now we just saw the kid has the Akizuki Wadmore has gone dark. So he's successfully gotten out. And look at the team now. The kids are both going on Roman Soldiers Amalfi.
Yeah, they got to get a kill. They got 15 seconds to bag a kill. That would keep them in this game. There we go. They just got onto the cap. That buys them a time extension.
Mhm.
Joker stepping onto C buys them a little bit of a time extension, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Cable Guy's about to step onto A, and nobody can get to B, and that's the cap that's ticking right now.
Yep.
It's not going to happen. 10 seconds. They need a kill. Oh, it's so close. Wadmore might beach himself. No, it's going to happen, Zap. The Falcons are going to win
Yep,
game 3.
Falcons.
They did it.
They did it with machine guns coming in on that kid. Wow.
Wow. What a game. Goodness
series.
gracious. Yeah,
What a
both teams
series.
playing their guts out, but the Falcons coming back from going down 1-0 with a winning game 2 and a clutch win in game 3. They're going to be moving on to the top 8 in a couple of weekends. I'm excited, Zap. I had
Oh,
fun
absolutely.
casting these games. Goodness gracious.
Absolutely. And now we often talk about how these games, and I mentioned at the start, they both had the same lineup, so it all came down to minimizing those mistakes. And if you
Yeah.
ask me, the biggest mistake was that over push by that Bayard.
Okay. I can see that actually. I also feel like, I mean, there were definitely some other mistakes. I mean, the Falcons were not clean either, right? I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like we talked about at the time, Kashima's he probably pushing a little too far, a little too aggressively. Once he had, kind of slapped the North Carolina, his reason for being in that position was largely achieved. He could
Hmm.
have more or less maybe turned around, pulled back, just kind of hung near the middle of the board as a threat. And of course, his A bubble in the center also restricts the Shokaku's plane movements through the middle of the
Yes.
board as long as he's there. Um, Maybe felt like he got a little too greedy in the end. It cost him his ship.
Right. We also never saw those 10-kilometer torpedoes being used. I was really looking forward to seeing that in one of these 3 games.
He was almost in a position to throw them at the Shokaku when he finally died there at the end, but it felt like he might have even forgotten about them, right? In the heat of the moment, you're trying to get the salvo off before you die. Maybe you don't get there.
Hmm.
But yeah, what an amazingly good series. We could talk about this one for a while. So let's kick it back to the studio, and then we'll go join them in a couple of minutes. Okay?
Sounds good to me.
Congratulations to the Blue Falcons actually clawing their way back into this match and actually flipping it around after losing the first one, Duke. What a great game. What do you think made them win this last one? What was the key factor?
Man, there was a lot of really great plays in that game. But I think ultimately their play at the the C cap, the BC push that they pulled off, that is what won them the game. A couple things to highlight: their Chapayev, Akizuki, Amalfi pushed on that flank. All that AMD had to try and counter that was an Amalfi and a Kid. Without radar, you can't stop that push really, because the Akizuki can smoke up that Chapayev, and the Amalfi can also lay that rolling smoke and let the Chapayev just steam right up, right towards the cap. So that was really, really good. I like that strategy a lot. I think that's what won them the game. Also, I would like to highlight the key push in the middle of the game. While it didn't accomplish a whole lot, they did get a trade. That key got an amazing salvo in the North Carolina. But what it did accomplish, apart from just getting kills, is it split up the map, and it made it impossible for AMD to try and rotate ships from the A flank back towards BC to help.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very interesting to see the kind of pushes that both teams went for. Initially, it was, for me, I hope we get the replay in a minute. It was great to see that Blue Falcons actually managed to get both caps, and they traded better. They actually got a 30k HP advantage despite being the team ending up with both of the caps. But AMD's counterplay, actually going for the enemy Kid, was great. Just like how Uwe Unicum managed to get the drops in, plus the Bayar, just nuking that DD out of the match in a position where Blue Falcons were actually really comfortable with the kind of setup they had. This was like a setup where you can just kind of sit a little bit on the caps in a defensive way and say like, okay, guys, now you have to come and do something. Was a really great play, but Blue Falcons found a good answer for most of the things that AMD came up with. And it was interesting to see that AMD still managed to crawl and claw its way, also closer to the match, coming back into it. But they kind of lost the HP trading fight. They were, after like 8 or 9 minutes, they managed to get the cap back, of course, after bagging that DD kill. But they had a 60k HP difference. And that, of course, makes it very, very hard to keep the push up all the time, because at some point you're running out of HP and you're going to lose a lot of ships. So yeah, I was impressed by both teams. What do you think AMD could have done slightly differently to win that one?
Well, if there's one critical moment I wanted to point out, it was the death of the Bayard. AMD was getting a lot of traction on the A cap, and they potentially had 2 kills lined up for them in Edinburgh, and the Shokaku sitting behind the island would have actually been a fairly easy kill to pick off. But the Bayard got a little bit too greedy. They did a lot of damage to Edinburgh, and of course in the moment it's very hard to judge, what's the best thing to do, and he decided, I think we can get this kill. Unfortunately, he was incorrect, and the combined power of the Key, the Eden, and the Shokaku actually was able to kill the Bayard before the Edinburgh went down.
That was actually super surprising for me, and now we do have the replay. It was really surprising for me to see that they were not able to convert that kill on the Edinburgh. And let's just take a look here at the replay. We'll see this in a minute once we get to that point. So now if we stop here, right, we will see how both of the teams actually deployed. We see the Chappie Amalfi on this flank versus only a Kit and Amalfi on this side, giving here AMD a number advantage, right? You have 3 guys here, but if we look how this actually plays out, the Kit is able, with a very aggressive push, bow on in to get into the cap and capture it. But now this is where it goes wrong, with the Kit losing so much HP. And we have the Edinburgh here, and this is for me now the interesting move. So usually in a situation where you were already down in terms of like how many ships the enemy has deployed in that sector, you have the Balti here, you have the Kit here, you have the Bayah here, plus the battleship and the CV striking here. And the Edinburgh, now if we just take a look at what he's doing, he's turning in. That was a surprising move for me, because you would usually expect ships to turn out. And I was saying to Duke that I don't understand what he's doing, because it's such a risky move. He has a Baltimore with heavy AP shells here. The Kit can keep him spotted. The Bayah is going to be able to provide a different angle, so he has to be super careful in this scenario. And he manages to walk away. Like, this was for me very impressive to see that the Edinburgh manages to somehow survive this. What do you think did AMD wrong in terms of like not being able to get that Edinburgh?
Really, I don't know. Just because of Edinburgh has a very difficult citadel to actually hit, and it also has a very powerful heal at tier 8, and because of that, it's a very tricky ship to actually kill. And so, yes, it misplayed a little bit, but ultimately, I don't know that kill was really on the table from the start. And I think AMD pushed it too far in trying to get that kill. Getting a lot of damage on it probably would have been fine, especially Citadel damage that it can't repair nearly as well.
Yeah. So if we just let this replay play out, let me just open it up. If you just let it play out, we will see that the Edinburgh here was able to, of course, get away. And then the AMD has the 2 caps. They managed to have these 2 caps, but Blue Falcons just came back. And I like that the Shukaku, this is something that Lord Seth is actually talking about, right? The Baltimore is walking away. The Baltimore is now going to actually nuke that Edinburgh because he's showing too much broadside, he's too greedy. And the Shukaku will then decide, okay, the cap is free, and I'll just apply that pressure, because there's nothing that can really stop me from this. And winning this match. So congratulations to the Blue Falcons here, coming back to this, and now of course advancing to the next stage of the tournament. Don't forget, we have the finals coming up on the 8th of August. So in 2 weeks' time, you can actually join us and watch how all of these teams that we saw earlier are going to fight against each other and who's going to be the best one walking away. Before we do this, though, and before we talk with C-Raptor and Lord Seth about all of the matches we had today, we were talking a lot about team play. A very important aspect for that is, of course, building the team, the mutual trust, also being able to connect digitally. And gaming is a fantastic way of providing that opportunity for this special kind of bond that you can develop over a longer period of time. But not just for us, like the hardcore nerds that love to see this every day, but also for example, veterans. And we now have a very nice video for you talking about this topic before we come back with everybody here to talk about the rest of the matches.
Okay, you have no audio on the video.
Are we on me? Okay, sorry. I just Conway just told me there's an issue with sound. So welcome back, and now we have our casters here together with us to talk about these matches. I'm sorry, there seems to be something wrong with audio today. You can just put an X.
We can watch it.
You want to play it again?
Yes, we're going to play it again.
Okay, Conway says we're going to play it again, so we'll play it again.
I never thought who wasn't blood like I love my family.
The bonds made in the military can be unbreakable. It didn't matter where you came from or your background. You went through stressful, extreme experiences together. And even though the stakes aren't even close to being the same, gaming also brings together people of all ages, from all different walks of life, forming some pretty strong bonds. And for many veterans, gaming helps strengthen their emotional connections, not just with other vets, but with their kids and even new people.
Getting into the military, you meet people from all over the world with all sorts of different cultural, ethnic backgrounds. None of that stuff matters. I mean, you're literally there to bond with and fight for your brothers and sisters that you serve with. And it happens so fast, man. You like meet somebody and immediately you've got their back for the rest of the time that you serve with them. It's pretty wild.
Video games is just an extension of that brotherhood. I have friends that I've played games with. They know my life inside and out as well. They know all the struggles that I've been through, and these people are family to me.
It's so much more than just a game. My wife and I would play a game together. It was a way for us to kind of talk to each other.
Who wins more often, you or your wife? That's the answer. Who wins more, you or your kids?
My son, bro. My son kills me in everything we play. So he's good though, man. I give it to him. He's good.
Through its partnerships with Wounded Warrior Project and supporting programs that benefit veterans, Verizon is committed to giving more to those who give the most. Check out Verizon.com/military to see why Verizon is ranked the most military-friendly company.
So now we had the video brought to you by Mr. Conway, even with sound, full luxury today. So let's bring back C-Raptor and Lord Seth and talk about all of the matches we had today. What a fantastic way to actually end this day with the last three matches that we just saw. What do you think, C-Raptor?
This was a lot of fun, right? Like I said at the beginning of the day, I was excited to see Tier 8. It didn't disappoint. We saw an amazing variety of ships. We saw battleship strategies work. We saw carrier strategies work. We saw some really close games. It's always fun when you watch two teams, regardless of skill level, that are at least the teams are comparable skill level, because it means that, you know, the move and counter move and the map reactions and their choices and everything, they're all playing at about the same place, and it almost always makes for an amazingly fun game. I feel like that AMD BF series we just got through watching was just a perfect example of this, right? Like, just I could go on for a while about how much fun it was to cast that one, especially that game 2, right, where you get down to the last 60 seconds and it's obvious there is a path to victory, but you don't know they're going to get there, right? And they get those last 2 kills they need to get over the hump, and like literally just seconds ticking away, and they managed to find a way. And in the game 3, excuse me, I was listening to you guys talk about game 3. That was stuff. There was so much going on in that game that even I missed, right? I'm driving my camera around trying to keep up with everything, and it's like, you know, Zach told me that I watched it in the replay. Kashima's Key got a really good salvo on the North Carolina when he kind of poked himself around the island. I missed that completely because I was over here looking at the 8-9 line push that had finally started, right? They were finally making good progress over here, and 20 kilometers away, one of the battleships is about to go off the board, right? You just, beautiful. So much fun.
Yeah,
what do you think, Seth?
It's fantastic to see, and you have to keep in mind that these are not clans that have been playing together for like several clan battle seasons for months and months and months. These are drafted teams. They got together a few weeks ago. They trained, of course. They tried to get the best out of it, but all of the teams were roughly on the same level in terms of gameplay. Yeah, some a little bit stronger, some a little bit weaker, but overall always putting up great matches, and it's just super fun to see. What was your highlight today, Seth?
I mean, there were so many. I felt like the last series was literally the finals. That could have been the finals, and I would have walked away happy, right? with the level of competition that occurred, the back and forth, and all that kind of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, this should be a preview for what's coming, okay, when we get to the finals. But I'll tell you, that was fun to see. The 2 battleship strategy winning was fun to see. That was a big highlight for me. The fact that you had all these players coming together and just making a go of whatever they could and trying to make it happen. Raptor and I were talking about how quickly these battles were unfolding, right? Because they're 7-on-7, it's smaller teams, and so as a result, you know, your battles are averaging closer to 10 minutes than they are to 15 or something like that. So these were fast and furious battles that you know, spotting mattered, positioning mattered, type of ship mattered, all of that kind of stuff. And Chrysanthos, you were talking about the draft and working together, and I think you guys would all agree teamwork mattered here, and that was awesome to see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All of these matches, you just saw amazing teamwork and everybody trying to pull on the same string to just win, and that also for a great cause, and not just for like, you know, like prizes for themselves, but actually trying to win it for a greater cause. And I hope that Conway, please confirm it for me, that we'll be able to show which of the teams picked what organization to actually support, because that's what's going on, right? We have a $100,000 donation from Verizon, and the teams get to pick the organization. Then they're going to play in the finals for which organization gets the biggest chunk of that donation, and that's just really, really, really great to see. I wouldn't have expected all of these teams to play on the same, roughly the same level. How's it for you from like a tournament organizer point of view?
I mean, considering, you know, you've got these drafted teams, like they aren't, you don't have like these clubs of people, right? We call them clans, who play together all the time. So you know, you have to build that teamwork and that groundwork from zero. All these teams are starting on a very even foot, and I think for that reason you do see a lot more close matches, and there are a lot more action packed than maybe you have two clans that they kind of know how each other play because they played against each other so often in clan battles, and they are very cautious and you know, slow and careful about how they approach things now. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a blast to watch.
Yeah, like for me, this is just very, very fun to see. We were talking about the whole setup as well with, if you compare this to King of the Sea can be, especially on later stages, can be very methodical and very slow in how each team proceeds, not to make any mistake, because it will definitely be punished. And sometimes you will wait for like 5 or 6 or 7 minutes for both teams being in the position where they feel comfortable for a push, or time will actually make them push into a position where they're not so comfortable in. But here the teams with the 7 versus 7 setup, with tier 8, less ranges, also with where the cap zones are at, right? It kind of forced them to go in and battle it out. Great to see how all of the ships, I haven't seen that many pushing battleships in a long time. You're just going in and trying to get that angle and smack a cruiser or smack a battleship to be able to get the upper hand. Just really fantastic to see. And at least from what I can see in chat, a lot of people felt the same way when it comes to the matches. There was not a single comment where I would say like, oh, you know, this is taking so long for the teams to get into position, there's no action. No, it was actually the opposite. So great outcome, and I think it's going to be the same for the final day. Yeah, so I think at this point we'll slowly wrap it up. So a big shout out to Sea Raptor and Lord Sath. If you liked what they showed you today in terms of course, the entire commentary, you can find their channels. Sea Raptor, would you like to tell us where we can find you on the internet?
Sure. My Twitch channel is just twitch.tv / Sea Raptor 00. I do warships at least one night a week, sometimes two, depends on the mood I'm in, but Thursdays are almost always warships night here on NA. I'm a regular working slob with a job, so I stream evening times here on NA, so unfortunately it means I don't get a lot of EU viewers, but I've got some Australian guys that like to wake up early and tune in, and then we've got a regular group of here guys on NA. I also have a YouTube channel where I post a variety of stuff, sometimes cuts from Twitch, sometimes I do, usually we'll do first look videos as ships come to super testing, where we're not allowed to show you the gameplay, but we're allowed to show you the ship model and port. So we do that, we look at the ship model, we talk through the stats of the ship and all that kind of thing. I'll do battle reports, and then tournament games like this, I will log every single tournament game I cast on my YouTube channel, going back more than almost 4 years, right? You can find stuff going all the way back to like King of the Sea 5. So yeah, that's where I am.
Great, and Lord Sath?
Yeah, so you can find me at Lord_Zath. I also have a YouTube channel. You can guess it's probably youtube.com/Lord_Zath. Unfortunately, no underscores are allowed on Twitter, so my Twitter handle is just simply @LordZath, all one word. But I stream right now Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. I am a teacher, which means we're off on summer, which sadly is ending very quickly. But I do have a few more streams coming up, a few more weeks where I can hang out with people. I usually start around 12 Central Standard. We go till about 4 or 5 p.m. on weekdays until 6 o'clock on Sundays, which is actually right about now. So this is perfect timing. And we just cover all sorts of things. I'll play the game, get my dailies. As you guys know, I always get my dailies done. As a matter of fact, I was able to complete my dailies while casting the tournament at the same time. So, booyah! And on top of that, we also do replay analysis. We talk through how what players are doing right, what players are doing wrong, all that kind of stuff, and we have a lot of fun just kind of talking about everybody else's gameplay, and it's truly their opportunity and chance to shine. On my YouTube page, I've posted every single one of the replays that I've covered and all that kind of stuff. So if you find yourself struggling to learn a new ship and you would like to learn more about it, just go onto my channel, type in the ship name. Chances are you'll find at least one replay that you can watch and maybe learn a few tricks in the process.
Absolutely. I can highly recommend both of these channels wholeheartedly. And trust me, I haven't seen anybody that committed to the game as Lord Zath. I can tell you, we were on a summit, community contributor summit, and Zath would have his PC with him to be able to collect his daily rewards, to not miss out on anything in the game. So you won't find anyone that committed to the game that at least I know, who's also streaming with a job and all of these other aspects together. So
when we did Anchors Away Anaheim, which was it's coming up on 4 years now, almost 3 years ago now. We come down to breakfast one morning, right? Everybody's kind of learned, everybody's eating. Zath is literally sitting at the breakfast table with his little laptop doing his dailies, and we're all just kind of going, "Really, man? Really?"
I was eating with one hand and playing with the other.
Literally one-handed.
Somebody asked me, "Why are you playing with one hand?" I said, "Well, that's how you become a unicum. You train."
That's right. That's right.
Playing with a handicap, absolutely. Well, thanks to both of you. Was a pleasure working with you once more, and looking forward to the next one. So have a great, well, I guess more lunchtime for you than anything else. For us, it's already very late. Or is it already? What time is it actually for you now?
Dinner, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. It's
6
dinner
p.m.
time.
Perfect. It's not that. See, it's not that early. Great. We didn't have to make you get up super early this time compared to King of the Sea.
not this time. We have done that before. Yikes.
Yes, we've been there. We've been there.
I just want to say huge thanks to you guys for putting this on, for inviting us in to comment. It was so much fun working with you and the team at St. Pete the past couple of weeks to help put this all together. It's beautiful to see. So you guys did a great job. Thank you again.
Yeah, I want to say thanks as well for having me here. Participating in a charity event like this. My wife is a military veteran. She's the veteran in the family, and so the ability to come in and help out a little bit is very much appreciated. So thanks.
Thank you very much, guys. Well then, we'll see you soon. And then we'll just move it back to Duke and me to talk about the final aspects of the tournament. Take care, guys. One thing I want to highlight in general is when we talk about, casters, for example, being here and helping with running this tournament, one thing we shouldn't forget is all of the helpers in the background who actually make that tournament happen, all of the community organizers, for example, Duke. If you want to do any special shoutouts, this is the perfect moment. Just a big thank you from our side. These tournaments would not be possible at all without the help of community guys, just helping with organizing everything, coming up with the rules, being able to control the training rooms, making sure that all of the teams are there on time. It's a lot of additional time that goes in there for no big benefit. It's just because they're passionate about the game. So big shout out from our side. We really love what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to all of you who help with this tournament and all of you who help with all other volunteer tournaments. It's really what makes this game so special is when the community comes together to create something great.
Yes. So I see that Mr. Conway has brought up here the single elimination finals bracket, where we're going to now see who's going to be playing in the final stream that we're going to have on the 8th of August. And we'll see Blue Falcons fight against the Flying Philosophers, two teams that we saw today. We saw IFHE, they're going to be playing against the Fire Kitchen. And from the other side of the tournament, we did see the Small Boat Navy. They're going to play against Double the Fun. And then the match that we almost saw with Where's the W Key? We unfortunately didn't get to see them today. We're going to see them hopefully in the finals, fighting against the Jedi. So that promises to also be a very interesting fight. Mr. Conway, do we have the picked organizations, the charities?
Almost.
Almost. Okay, so we're waiting for the teams to do this. If you can actually bring up the whole donation part with the sponsorship, we can actually take a look at what this means. So what we're doing here is that the teams are not just playing for personal rewards. No, the main goal here is to play to pick a donation, pick a charity that these teams feel the most passionate about. All of these are themed around veterans and helping veterans. And depending on the place that the team will end up in the finals, all of these charities will get a specific amount of money. So the charity, the winner of the tournament is going to receive $30,000, and even the charities that won't make it into the finals, they still get $2,000 each. And of course, if you want to contribute, feel free to pick these and contribute in terms of money. We, of course, also have a charity drive for Wounded Warrior Project. We were talking about this earlier today. So if you feel like, hey, this is something where I would like to help and give to those who give a lot of, passion and time and risk and being deployed overseas to work for your country is something that not a lot of people are doing. So if you feel like, hey, this is something where I can maybe give back something, it's a great cause in my personal opinion. So go check that out. It's $100,000 on the line for the final broadcast. And don't forget, if you have a Verizon customer in the United States, you can still grab your USS Arizona. You can still get 4 months of premium time, in total a package of $75 just for free on the wo.ws/Verizon. You can find all of the information about this. And yeah, then we'll just wait for the teams to make their final picks, and then we'll hand over. This stream is not over, actually. We're going to be handing over to a North American team to still have a little bit of fun with you and talk about the project that we have here. And I see chat is very, very happy to talk about Crescenta's secret chest. So the Crescenta's secret chest you were able to earn today by watching for 150 minutes and get your additional Twitch container. This is what I can give you with my power. This is your additional container you were able to earn throughout the day. Otherwise, you can be sure that we're actually trying to give you really, really cool stuff on Twitch in general. I hope you like the change that we made with Twitch drops. The Twitch drops are now going to give you community tokens that you can just spend in the armory for whatever you like. So there's ship containers, there's camouflages, there are permanent camouflages, for example, from our amazing community contest that we ran over the years together with you. So I hope you like this change. You can just, you decide what you want to spend it on. So at least I personally think it's a good one.
So I'm ready to make an announcement of who picked which charity. Little disclaimer, if I get something wrong here because there was a bit of confusion in the channel, don't worry, we'll sort it out afterwards. But without further ado, the Team 26 picked the Gary Sinise Foundation. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. In memoriam, Team Jedi, actually, Team Jedi. They picked the Warrior Freedom Service Dogs. Then we have the IFHE, the Iconic Fleet of Heroic Ephraim. They picked Burn Pits 360. Then Small Boat Navy, Team 14. They picked Guitars for Vets. Double the Fun, Team 32, picked Disabled American Veterans. Now, really quickly, let me just double check that this is the right team. Yes, drum roll, drum roll. So, the Flying Philosopher picked Blue Star Family. Then we have, where's the W key? Where's the W key picked Veterans for Foreign Wars? And I believe that's it. That's our 8 picks. So the Gary Sinise Foundation, Warrior Freedom Service Dogs. Oh, sorry, I forgot one team. It's the Fire Kitchen, Team 27. They picked USO. We've also had Guitars for Vets be picked, Disabled American Veterans, and Blue Star Family and Veterans for Foreign Wars. Now, what this means that all these charities are up in the running for getting one of the big prizes, but all of the other charities will still be receiving $2,000.
Thank you very much, Mr. Conway. Would you like to move around so we can actually see, because there are questions about Mr. Conway's hair. Mr. Conway's hair have actually changed significantly compared to last time when you saw him. So we can actually have him. He's in his Transformer shirt. There he is.
Hello.
A wild twin appears.
It looked much better when it came fresh from the hairdresser, and then I was in this room for 10 hours, and now not so much. But it was good fun. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to go back to my place, otherwise we're going to be staring at this screen for the rest of the evening.
Yes, so we'll be handing over to our amazing North American team. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this was fun for you to watch. Please, if you have some feedback about, for example, the camera work, it's of course a different approach that we have, but I think, you know, over the course of the broadcast, it became much better and had really cool shots, for example, with the replays that we have with the kill shots and being able to show some different angles. So, for example, CV attacks and being able to switch to see where the bombs are landing is pretty cool. Not perfect yet, but I think, you know, there's some potential in this. If you want to give us any feedback about this, please feel free to just head to the forums and go to the related cross post, you know, from the portal. You can just go to the portal publication. You see Verizon Warrior Series, you go there, click on Discuss on Forums, and leave your feedback for this entire activity. And otherwise, I'll just say thank you for watching. Thank you to Mr. Conway for creating a really nice broadcast here. And then I'll leave the last words to Duke with a great first time on the stream. Yes. How was it? How was it for you? Stressful? Okay? Easy?
A little stressful, but yeah, no, very good. I enjoyed it a lot. I've enjoyed it a lot. Thank you very much for having me here.
Great. Well, these are short last words. So, guys, we'll be back with this tournament broadcast. If you want to see, you know, the games, we're going to be back on the 8th of August. All of the details you'll be able to find in our schedule, right? You just head to wo.ws/schedule. All of our official streams are in there for the foreseeable future. I think August is going to be updated, is already updated because we updated it on Friday. So good job, us. And so all of the details are in there. And otherwise, well, you can also catch us with our weekly streams. If you're from Europe, you will find Mr. Conway and me next Thursday from 6 to 8 Central European Summertime or 4 to 6 UTC, which is the easiest because you can just Google what that means in your hometown time. And otherwise, of course, our North American team is streaming usually on Fridays. So go check that out. And with this, I'll say goodbye. Take care. I hope that this stream inspired you maybe to do something, you know, for a charity or for a good cause. I think all of these different causes, even if it's not, for example, about veterans, there's a lot of things out there that, you know, could really use some additional funding to help people in need. So please do that. And otherwise, see you soon. Handing over to the North American team and enjoy your evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Bye-bye.
The trip to the VA, it was an all-day event. Telehealth has brought me closer to my medical team.
Verizon has partnered with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to connect veterans to VA Video Connect for free.
The quality of his life has changed immensely.
VA Video Connect takes care of veterans. Verizon takes care of the cost.
It